Man, what up? This big triple crown business. Let's get it, homie.
Right, so this piece is called the Complexity of Complexion. It's a self-portrait of myself, she would. This piece was a very therapeutic piece for me. It helped me get through a lot of my depression. I was doing a documentary called Black in America, and you kind of dive down that rabbit hole of our history here and how they enslaved us and how they did what they did to us. A lot of the times we know that slavery was the outcome and we knew that they enslaved us, but a lot of us don't really understand how they did it. And once you find out how, you start to realize that they do it to us over and over again in different ways. And until we figure out how to stop it, there's no way we can combat it. Knowing that, I fell into a depression, and literally as I finished this piece, my depression left with it. So it's called The Complexity of Complexion. And I feel like no matter how beautiful we are, no matter all the good that we stand for, this is exactly how they're going to see us, as complex beings.
This is our artist Ahaya. She is a wood crafter, and this piece is essentially a coffee table. So whoever purchases this piece, she'll install the legs for free. What I love about this piece is all the details with the gems and the crystals and the glitter. When we accepted this piece, we were amazed, and when she said it was a coffee table, we were like, no, we can't have anybody putting any glasses or cups on this, so especially if you got any kids. We were glad to put this up on the wall. And her other piece as well, you'll see the different details that she adds to it, and we just love her whole aura. Her whole spirit just screams art, and we love everything about her, so we're glad to have her as well. So this is our artist Shelton. He's one of our world-renowned artists. He travels the world doing live shows with his partner Travis. He believes, which is true, that women are the center of the universe, and he does a really interesting way of combining the universe and these women figures and turning them into these universal goddesses. He has a whole series on these just beautiful, beautiful work. My favorite part about his pieces is if you look closely, you'll see all these different textured patterns that he won't tell us how he does, but.
So this young piece is by a young lady, she's 16. Her best friend at 12 had cancer, and they cut off all their hair as a statement against cancer, saying that they would fight it and they would beat cancer together. The young lady ended up beating cancer, so they made it into a portrait and stuffed both of their hair into this art piece to basically explain their fight against cancer. So this is her silhouette hair. The hair is both of theirs inside of this art piece. And then you see the colors and the confusion in the background. That's them standing against cancer.
All right, Royal Crown Spotlight is in the building today. Actually, one of the most amazing buildings I've been in. We're gonna start it off by letting you all introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Steven Benitez. I go by Artez in the film and photography industry. I've been in the industry for a little over a decade now. I've done everything from fashion, theater, model, music, film. I like to be versatile, so there was always, something else I could get into, just because art is such a broad spectrum of talent and craft, so I want to be able to dabble into all those things.
Because art is everything.
And everything is art.
I'm Sheima. I'm an entrepreneur, writer, artist, well-rounded artist. I've been writing all my life. I just technically dived into like art and drawing in a sense, but yeah, so I love to write. I write music, poetry, songs, books, children's books, novels, and typically my writing leads to my art. So yeah.
So y'all are well-known machine here.
Exactly.
So to say you just started, you actually have one of your own pieces in here.
I do.
Was that your first piece?
That was not my first piece, but it was my first official piece because I messed up a lot of pieces before I got to that piece. So that was my first finished piece.
Okay, yes. Got you. So how did the Art Society come about?
Well, I wanted to give a platform to artists, to all artists, not just myself. I had mad art all over my house. telling me like you need to put it in a gallery. But what I've learned, especially in corporate America, they don't really appreciate Black art the way that we do in our own communities. So every gallery I went to, I was essentially turned away, saying that it was hard to appraise our art, and it's not abstract, and it doesn't really start many conversations and things like that. So I decided, like, I know there's other artists out there like myself. So I decided to create a place where we can put our own art up and we can sell our own art and be in control of it too, because essentially it's our intellect.
Right.
You know, it's our thoughts, it's our feelings, our emotions. Everything is put into our art as artists. So it's only right that we should be able to display it and take essentially most of the profit from it as well.
And well, you definitely did that. You caught my attention as I was walking through, and as you see, I basically moved in here. So how did your Ted become part of it?
Do you want to take that one?
We met through a mutual. We were talking. I was talking to him. His name is Picasso. Shout out to Splatroom Studios.
Hey.
He texted me one day saying that someone needed a photographer for her grand opening event. So I was like, yeah, but, you know, I was looking for more work. I was door dashing at the time, trying to get off the road. So anything that came my way, I'm like, I'm gonna hop on.
Right.
So I met with her the day she opened up, and basically offering my services to her. Because like I said, I'm very versatile with what I do. And she told me, you know, her story about how she had a partner that bailed on her, and literally, you know, I came here offering my services to her. She offered me something so much greater, you know, a partnership with Art Society. So it was just such a blessing to be part of it.
You two make a dope team. I know y'all work with the youth a lot. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What all type of work do you do?
So I believe that the youth is our key. Like when we're older and we're no longer in our hustle and bustle mode, they'll be making the laws for us. They'll be implementing our rules and things of the society. So I work well with the youth because they're our future. So I try to tackle more so the delinquents, like juvenile delinquents, and I try to show them a new outlet through art. Like, hey, I know you're hurting. I've been there. I know a lot of kids that's been there. I know you guys are hurting. I know you're angry for the way that the world looks at us, as especially someone who's messed up in their life and now they're judged for it, you know? So I like to work with them and let them know there's another outlet. You can rap it out. You don't have to shoot it out. You can rap it out. You can draw it out. Whatever, you can do whatever creativity and pin it towards something positive versus trying to be out here trying to kill each other, trying to have mothers crying, trying to end up in jail. So we have a youth wholesale program as well, where young kids come in here and we create logos for them that they design. We just bring it to life for them. And we'll tell them like, hey, we'll give you shirts for $10 a piece. They come here every weekend, they buy their shirts in bulk, they go out into the mall, into the communities, and they sell their shirts, and they flip them for like $25 to $30 a piece, and they'll come back like, oh my God, I need 10 more shirts. So essentially, I tell them like, all right, so y'all not flipping drugs no more, y'all flipping shirts, right? Because can't nobody arrest you for selling a shirt, right? So, and that's their thing now. So now they come in here.
And that's the thing. That's what we're trying to instill in them, that you can do that. You know, we want to offer them an outlet. Because we didn't have that when we were younger. If I had something like this growing up, man, I would have been doing this a long time ago.
Exactly. And they make their own money off of it. And it's like, I do free business classes. So they'll come in and I'm like, hey, this is how you do your LLC. This is how you set up an EIN. This is how you get a bank account. Let's make this legit. Let's get you a processing center where you can accept cards now. Because especially with us, like, we have the hustle.
Yes.
It's just a lot of times it's exploited in the wrong way. So it's like, nah, keep your hustle, but try selling this instead of the stuff that they can lock you up for, because that's a trap. It's called a trap for a reason.
Yeah.
You know?
And the crazy part about it, they start glorifying the word trap, not even knowing.
Exactly.
So you brought up something, you know, just like you said, that they can express it in music. So we know when it comes to the rap community, day and age, where most of the music is geared to it. Like, what's your take on that? Because a lot of these kids, young kids and young adults, they're truly rapping their lives.
Exactly.
So, like, what do you all think about, like, the way that the music is coming out and everything, and they're using it to represent our community?
One person I could say has really changed my mind about them has been Lil Baby. Like when he first dropped, I was like, oh great, another rapper just using his platform for things that I don't resonate with. But watching him over time, how he evolved and he does things for the community, and he still raps like, hey, this is things that I've done. These are things that go on in our community, but this is how we're gonna change it. This is how we're gonna do better. And now, like looking at people like my little brother and his friends, they all follow him. So now they're like, oh, I'm gonna buy land. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna invest into my future. I'm gonna invest. That's stuff that I feel like they don't point out in the rap game no more. They act like rap is just destroying our communities. But I was raised off of Jay-Z, and Jay-Z was the one who gave me my entrepreneurship. Like, I always say he raised me from the radio station. Like, I literally would listen to his songs and resonate with every single song that he dropped. So from a child, I was like, by the time I'm 30, I need to do this.
Yeah.
You know, by the time I'm this, I need to be just like Jay-Z. I need to have that hustle like Jay-Z. But no one points that out for him in his life. They look at him like, oh, well, he was a drug dealer. But it's like, nah, but he taught me a lot. You know, he taught me a hustle. He gave me a hustle.
And they tend to do that, you know, they're gonna point out the most negative things they can in every situation. So like, who do y'all feel is in charge of us being able to point out the positivity, like just like you did, you know how they put the celebrities on this platform, this pedestal, but like, do y'all think that it's the celebrities' responsibilities to change this culture, or is it more so us?
I think it's a team effort.
It's a team effort, definitely.
It's a team effort. Like with my kids, I don't shun them from listening to certain music. I just point out the good in that music. You know, like my little sister, she loved Broadway. Broadway has grown on me. I love Broadway now. Like, but you know, he has that mix of music, and it's like, yeah, he's telling you what he's been through, but now he's telling you how to get past that and go further. You know, so don't just take the bad, because when we fail to realize that our communities are the way it is, are the way that they are, it has nothing to do with us. It wasn't really our fault. We're literally just dealing with the consequences of what was put there. You know, so
that's why we almost have the responsibility to use the audience that we have now, because we're like, oh, we don't have enough followers to be an influencer or to inspire the world. We start with the people around us, and that's with our kids, our brothers, our sisters,
our neighbors.
You know, our neighbors. You know, we're supposed to be the example to that.
Yeah, y'all definitely doing it, because like I said, you know, I'm not from out here, we're not from out here. We grasp all the attention, and now we're trying to do the same thing, and grasp more people's attention, because I mean, this work needs to be out there. And not only the pieces, like the work that you all are doing, you know. And it's crazy because it's a lot of kids that want to know how to work their camera, want to know how to do photography, but they don't even know who to go to, or they think these cameras still cost $30,000.
Right,
you know?
right.
So I mean, educating and what you're doing is like, I think the number one key, like educating.
Exactly.
And giving them a platform, you know, affordable platform that is, and like you said, educating them how to work the cameras, how to work the software on the computers, or offering them the computers to mess around with it, and because you never know what might spark in them at such a young age.
Exactly.
You know, and be like, yeah, we're going to do that for them.
Like we have.
Oh no, it's crazy you said that, because a lot of people still live in this twilight zone thinking that every child has a computer at home, and that is not true.
That's so true.
That's not their fault. Their parents can't afford it, whatever their living situation is. So that's why we want to offer that to them and bring them in. And because we've had a few kids come in. One of them wanted to be a producer, another one wanted to be a writer, another wanted to be a singer. So we're going to bring them in together and see what can just aspire from them. You know, it's just amazing to watch.
I was about to say exactly what he said. So we have kids that come in, one's a writer, one's a producer, one's a rapper. It's like, okay, well, get together, see what y'all can create.
That goes back to what I was saying about the art event. And it's crazy, because like when I first came in, I'm like, man, I'm seeing this big image. I'm like, nah, she not gonna want to come to that. But I came back and literally brought you the card, because like when I created the art extravaganza, a lot of people don't understand that all of this is art. Drawing, writing, rapping, designing clothes, like all of that, composing, it's art.
It is. Everything is art. Everything you do is art, you know. You said something earlier, we were put on this earth to
Yeah, my biggest saying, and I always say that to people, I say one of the number one things that they did was taught us that we're all the same, and that's what kept us down. We're all created differently, but we're all placed on this earth to coexist with one another.
Exactly.
I always say we were created by the creator to create. What we're doing here nowadays, but to create nonetheless. We all have an ability, a talent, and where our talent is where our passion is, right? Because that's something that we're good at. It's where our confidence comes from. And then once we find our passion, that ultimately becomes our purpose, right? Because then we're living life to the fullest. We're doing exactly what we're meant to do in our purpose.
Exactly.
I think a lot of this falls back to like on the school system. In the school system, it's time. We talk about the criminal justice system, but the education system, public system need to be reconstructed altogether.
Exactly.
It was created to create workers.
Exactly.
That's what it was designed for. Like these school system was not designed for us to be entrepreneurs. And
you gotta make a business and all those other things that you need, finances, and that's why we go as soon as we get out of high school, we get our credit cards, we're right into debt, right? So puts us in this hole.
Which is another reason why we came up with these youth programs, because we let them come in here and you can be as creative as you want to. Right? Kids come in here with jackets, they want to be junior jackets. That's art, do it.
Yeah,
why not? Here goes some glue. Some kids come in here and they want to create their sneakers to sell. They want to paint on them. They want to customize them. Do whatever makes your ticker tick. Whatever gives you goosebumps, do it. Because when you can thrive in your passion, you're happier, essentially in life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yes, like I can do this. And there's money's gonna come.
Yeah.
As long as you stand for what you believe in. And I feel like our education system, it strips us of our creativity.
And our individuality.
And especially individuality. Because now it's like you gotta wear uniforms. What if I don't wanna look like everybody else? You gotta wear uniforms. You gotta stand in a line. You gotta raise your hand and use the
how they treat our people to think that was to better our people.
Right. That's the American dream, right? You go here, go to school, graduate, get your high school diploma,
not even
work.
that, when your uniform thing. Like, I don't know how long it's been in effect out here, but like in Louisiana, I remember I was just getting ready to graduate, and what they did to get the parents on board, they was like, it's cheaper for the parents, and it stopped kids from getting picked on. We all
because they didn't have the shoes or the best outfits.
That still haven't stopped doing it.
Exactly, you're still gonna be picked on. Now they're gonna pick on your hair or your shoes are still a factor. And I was always a rebel, so like I would wear a uniform, but it's not gonna be the uniform you would expect. Like everybody rip in there, a bow in there, some type of color in there, like some type of way. Like I need to be set apart from the crowd, and I feel like our kids deserve individuality. Like I tell my daughter all the time, if she take a stand and she says she don't want to wear uniforms, I'm right behind you.
Yeah, that's how we express ourselves, what we wear.
Exactly.
And the saddest thing about it is they try to strip us from all of that until they find out how to capitalize on it. Then it comes right back full circle.
As if it's theirs. Like braids. Like braids. Like we've been rocking braids for centuries. Now it's like, oh, braids are popping. Braids been popping in our community. Like braids been a thing.
I knew we was heading down the path when they started sending letters home. I had graduated, but like my little cousin was getting letters saying they couldn't wear the clip balls to schools anymore.
Or the beads.
I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, sad. But we are resilient creatures.
We evolve.
And we evolve and adapt so well.
Everything.
And there's no hiding it anymore. That's why now you see black this, black that, black empowerment, black this, because you can't hide.
So to re-elaborate on what we're speaking of.
Unity, right. I forgot where I was piggybacking off of you. But
so like when we come together and what I'm starting to realize, especially in the world that we live in now, it's not really about the color of your skin anymore, but your beliefs. So it's like if we all come together and we put humans first, like it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter how much hair you have, we all believe in the same thing, and that's everyone wants a nice balanced out life.
But we think everyone would believe in the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the catch to it, because I tell people like this country doesn't have as much of a race problem as a what I would say like
clout.
Not clout, classism.
Yeah.
It's more so if you look at it like poor black people are treated the same by rich black people as poor white people are treated by rich white people. But what they do is they throw racism in there to have all the people that's quote unquote at the bottom battling against one another.
And that's where politics comes.
Politics is a whole nother. We be here for hours talking about politics.
And it's crazy that you brought that up because it's like with the state of the country now, we know what's going on. We know how we're being hunted down. Like, how do y'all have those conversations with the kids that come to us?
It's hard. It's so hard because honestly, like my conversation changed based on the kid. You know, like some kids can come in and they can already be aware, and some kids can come in and they can be conscious of it and be angry. And I have to tell them like you can't drive off that anger though, because that anger is gonna give them that reason to do what they're doing. You know, so it's like we can't drive off the anger. The only way we can change it is to implement it, like bring the light to it, shed light on it. Like, hey, this is what's happening. And I believe there's light shed on it, but it's not enough. It's too late. The things that we're asking for now, we've been asking for too long. Too long. And they're just now acknowledging it. So now that they're just now acknowledging it, we already have a whole nother list of things that need to be done. Right. So it's like y'all behind. You know, our system's behind.
And they giving us just enough. Like when they started, what was it, those stimulus packages?
Right.
Oh, they gave that out, and it's like people forgot about it.
Exactly. Because that's the country we live in. And it's sad, but it's not a black or white or purple thing. It's just hey, let's just pacify them. And we are very easily pacifier. You give us just a tiny bit, we're like, okay, we'll sit down for another year until we get restless again. And it's like, oh, well, let's bring light to this. But we're not, and in a lot of countries, the civilians will go to war with the politicians.
That's what I was about to ask you. Do you think we're ready for it?
I think it's with America, like because we're so diverse, we're also very divided. Because it's like we can stay in our circle, they stay in their circle, they stay in their circle, and because we're so divided, it's so easy to manipulate us because we don't relate with one another. So I think maybe it starts with places like this because we have Spanish kids, Chinese kids, white kids, black kids that come in here and they create together. So if we can...
You can see that with the art on the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course we love black art, but art is of so many colors. You know, we want everybody that comes in here to feel welcome and with their pieces. And we've had some kids come in here and they're a little discouraged with some of the pieces they see in here. But I usually tell them that, you know, every piece that they create, there is an audience out there for them.
Right.
And more so, if they give us a description of their piece, of what inspired them to create that piece, people are more prone to buy your piece if they can resonate with it. So
yeah. So I believe if we just bring them all together and we just tell them like, hey, if we stick together and we put our beliefs aside, whatever your religious belief is or your political belief, if you recognize me as human and I recognize you as human and we realize that we don't need to hurt each other, this world should be better. You know, it's only right. It should get better. You know. So and like I feel like the clout that comes with the things that we shed light on is really hurting us in a sense. I was raised with cops. I know cops. I know mad cops. I have friends that are cops. Not all cops are bad, but because you see on our TV station all day, bad cops, cops. In our neighborhoods, we are taught that cops are bad, not to trust the cops. But the reality of the situation is we do need the cops. Because if someone breaks into my house, I'm not going to call my mom, I'm not going to call my brother, I'm going to dial 911 first. Like, yo.
Though it's like, yes, we've always been taught, you know, cops are bad, this, that, and that. But I think it's bigger than that now because with the magnifying glass on the situations, if you're a cop, you're a good cop, but you see this cop do something wrong and you don't speak up on it, then you're no longer a good cop.
Exactly.
So I think that's where the problem is coming in. And so how do y'all feel that we bridge that? That's just like, you know, in the street code. You don't snitch. Cops do the same thing. They live by the same code.
Yeah.
So it's like until you see them changing the codes that they're living by, you can't expect.
Yeah.
You know,
it's kind of hard to trust them. Because it's like even though you wouldn't do it to me, you would allow your partner to do it.
They're just looking out for themselves.
Yeah. Right.
Each other.
Their own gangs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, essentially, they're their own
biggest gang in America.
That's a fact. I say the only way to change that is to change the system. You got to change the rules that they follow. You got to change their training, because our cops are trained by the military, but they're policing us.
Right.
We're not the enemy.
Right.
We're not. You're not supposed to be fighting us. You're supposed to simply just be policing us. If we step on the line, that's the only time we should have to deal with you.
Right.
You know, like, but then you also realize in America it's a money system. You know, why are you pulling people over all the time for broken tail lights, and why we got to pay a fine? We can barely afford to fix our tail light. Now we got to pay a $200 ticket on top of a tail light.
Right.
You know, so it's a money thing. So it's like, if we change the system and we tell them, like, this, policing them is no longer an option. You live amongst them. You know, you live with the civilians. You're not above us because you're a cop. You're not above the law because you're a police officer.
I've been saying that I feel like every patrol cop should only patrol the areas that they live in.
But how would you regulate that? What if everyone in that area don't want to be a police officer?
No, what I'm saying is, like, you know, cops normally have a beat. It's called a beat, which is an area that they control.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why most kids would know their cop that's in their area. Most cops know the kids in their area, but you don't live there. So you would come in, you can see what's going on, and then the next thing you know, you're going back home to your mansion.
Right.
You have a few. You have some, like, I don't know about out here, but where I'm from, like, you see cops living in the housing authority. They don't pay anything. Those are typically the ones more down to earth. But like the ones that don't live within their community, they don't care about the people that are there. So I feel like, you know, it'll be better, but then that's kind of hard because they can become tainted because they're easy to get to.
Yeah, or they were raised with the people that's breaking the law.
Right.
So it's kind of like, I see you breaking the law, but you my homie.
You my homie, so
how
ain't gonna
do
rat
you
you out.
because I'm not gonna lie, growing up, like, I've had a lot of cops look out for me, and I wasn't doing the worst thing, but I believe that helped me.
Not only, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I think it helped me
because
more
most
so
of the
than
time,
hurt
if
me.
they look out for you, they talk to you also. They don't just
Exactly.
turn their head up like, look, you know, I'm doing this because I know you're doing this,
Exactly.
which gave you that relationship with them. Now you're able to speak on their behalf, you know,
Exactly.
but they're not building that anymore. Even the same with the churches. We can go on and on about it, but it's just like, you know, when you look at it, you don't see the pastors in the communities.
Right.
You see them
They stay in their
Sunday,
buildings.
Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, taking all your money, but you don't see them out there eating with the kids, talking to them, wondering why they're acting out, why they picking up these guns. Like, you don't see
Yeah,
that.
but you can see it amongst our youth now, because when we were growing up, we had some type of conscience. We had like a respecting for our elders. We respected the people we looked up to. We didn't look at them as competition.
Right.
They were idols. I hear young kids today like, I don't have an idol. I'm my idol.
Yep.
I do this on my own. But it's like, it's because we withdrew.
I was about to say, like, are they lying? When you look in the mirror, like, are they really lying? You got parents bringing their kids' friends or absent. You know, the pastors just stray away from them. They write them off. You know, like, it's
And
so
then the
rude.
police is harassing them.
Yeah, or killing them.
So they have nowhere to go.
They only have is each other. So when one is beefing with someone else, then it's only right that I hop on there and help you out, because you're the one who hold me down when I'm going through it.
And that's where it starts.
There's no more OGs in the neighborhoods no more.
It starts in the home, you know, with our parents. Right? They're supposed to be setting the example for us. That's because as children, we look up to them for authority, right?
Yeah.
And if we don't have that, we're gonna find that somewhere else, the next closest thing.
Mostly the wrong place.
Right.
Right. So, you know, we can, like I said, we can talk about this all day, and there's definitely going to be more of these. Like, before is the art society. Like, do y'all see this expanding beyond, you know, just this one location?
Absolutely.
We are already speaking of expanding because we're like outgrowing this space.
Yeah.
So we have a program called Painting Clinton, and we're starting in Clinton County because we're here. But we are essentially building galleries and small businesses that maybe can afford art on their wall, but they want art on their wall, and it brings art all over Clayton County. So no matter where you go in Clayton County, you'll find one of our artists' art pieces. And then just to that is, their clients have the option to scan a QR code, and it'll lead you to a website where you can purchase that art right off that wall. So now small businesses are making more money, the artist has more exposure and the opportunity to make more money. And then of course, you know, we are bridging the gap within our society. And we're bringing art, because I wasn't raised seeing art, especially the type of art we have in every day. Like, you had to go outside your way into a city that you don't really feel comfortable just to be near art. But now it's like you can go to a hair salon and you can see artwork. You can go into a barbershop and see artwork. You fitness place.
I seen one of
Fit
the
nutrition for you.
Thank you.
one of the artists from out here who was in when it was Lennox Mall, it was like one of the furniture stores, and he had some pieces, but I know why they put him there. You know what I'm saying? The art is great, don't get me wrong, but I know why that particular store put him there. You know, I think it was just kind of to capitalize off of what's going on.
It was very
right.
It wasn't from the heart. It was political.
Yeah.
I mean, art draws people in.
Exactly.
You know? We have kids walking in here and just in awe of all the art pieces they see.
And we're like, you can do this.
Yes,
you can be a part of this.
Exactly.
Come on, let's go.
And that's why we have the workshops for them as well. During the weekends, they'll come in and our art instructor will teach them various brush strokes and color techniques with different types of paints. And focusing on what they're into, whether they like to draw anime or nature or cars, whatever it is will help perfect those skills.
Exactly. And then also too with the youth, we work with the foster care system, and as I mentioned before, the juvenile delinquent system and probation officers, and we're like, hey, all kids have a story, a different story to tell, you know, and they just need an outlet. And a lot of times, unfortunately, more often than not, they don't have no one to listen to them. They don't have no way of expressing it, and in our communities, if we express it, sometimes we're looked at as crybaby, soft,
crazy, weak.
There's nothing you can put on a canvas and someone can call you crazy for making it. We have kids that come in here disturbed and they just
putting their emotions on the canvas.
And it's like, okay, cool. But once you look at it, it's still an art piece. It's a beautiful art piece and anybody can resonate with it. So it's like they literally just spilled all of their emotions and anger into this art piece. And when someone come in here to purchase it, they're like, this is so beautiful, oh my God. And it tells a story, whatever story they see when they look at the art piece, they purchase it and they put it on their wall, but they don't even know. Well, they do because we tell them.
Right.
But a lot of the times they don't understand that piece that kid created literally took all the depression out of them. It took for the
it's
moment.
therapeutic.
Yeah, that's all what they're saying. What they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So all three of us can look at each one of these pieces and see something different.
Exactly.
And one thing I like to always ask all of my guests, and you all can answer this individually, you can do all individuals, but like, you know, we all have an expiration date on this earth. When you leave this earth, what do you want your legacy to be?
You can go first because I'm gonna take forever.
Right, because we want to leave an impact before we leave, right? A legacy. But with me, I guess my job every day is to be an example to everyone, you know, not just the children, to the people, but to everyone, you know. There's good in the world, and of course there's bad. Good can't exist without the bad, unfortunately. But that's why every day we can do something to better ourselves first, right? Because we got to take care of ourselves. We got to be selfish in that sense, and that way, when we do better ourselves, we can pour out into the world. And the legacy I want to leave, you know, especially for my children, is, you know, I did everything I possibly could on this earth, right, before I leave. So, because we're not promised tomorrow. So each day we're just striving. You know, we can't be perfect. We're not meant to be perfect, right? But each day we can strive for perfection. There's always something we got to do to better ourselves. And that's the example I want to leave here to everyone.
That's cool. So for me, honestly, like I want to be known as like ending homelessness, ending the hate that happens in our community amongst ourselves, amongst other people that look at us. You know, gentrification is also a really big thing for me. I want to start a program where we're buying homes for our people and we're giving them their homes. And I feel like rappers and, you know, all of our idols, they do things such as donating to charity and things like that. But how many people you see that go out there like, you're a grandmother that's been in this house for 10 years and you're still renting it? Now you own it. And I don't want nothing from you, but you own the deed to this house. Therefore, when it's time for gentrification to come around and it's time for them to buy you out, they can't because it's your house. You know, and I feel like that happens so much in our communities because we don't understand ownership. We don't understand that us owning our properties is that properties taxes is what pours into our education. And that would give us more leeway over our kids' education and things that they are taught in their school system. If we all owned our homes, the school system wouldn't tell us what they're teaching our kids. We would tell them what to teach our kids. And only we know our kids. So we'll tell them, no, this is good for our kids in our community. And they would have no choice but to abide by it because our taxpaying money pays it. But for the fact that right now a lot of us rent in our areas, it's easy for other people to come in there, drive the prices down, call it the ghetto, call it urban, and then when they're ready, 10 or 20 years down the line, they come buy up all that land that they drove the price down for cheap, and then they kick us out, and now everything is expensive, it's skyrocketing. So it's like if we brought enlightenment to say, hey, everybody on this block owns this land, there's no gentrification. It would be really hard to gentrify us and kick us out of our own neighborhoods that we grew up in. You know, so basically that's what I wanted to be with my staple, just enlightening people on ownership. Like, hey, and you don't have to hate. You get a lot more with love than you do with hate. You know, so let's spread love, and you can spread love through art. I know when I look at some art pieces, my heart, like, it's like, oh, this is so beautiful. You like, you might even burst out in sweat sometimes, like, because you resonate with it so much. Yes, exactly. Like, especially when you learn a story behind it. You know, so it's like, I just want people to know me as someone who helped my community at the end of the day. We shed light on ownership, we shed light on spreading love in our communities, and we shed light on the fact that it's okay to be different. We don't all have to be the same.
Love unconditional.
Unconditional, for real. Like, and that pride, this is off topic, but pride is like the #1 killer in Black people right now. Like, we all die, like we are all willing to die over respect or our pride. But if we taught our kids, like, so what would they say about you? Do you. Do what betters you in your community. They won't be out here dying because someone called them a whatever they call them. They'll be out here trying to enlighten each other, like, man,
inspire each other.
Exactly. You know,
we're trying to create kings and queens out of our people, because kings should be inspired by other kings.
Exactly.
Rather than trying to take away from what they have.
And then, no. I can talk forever.
You know, let everybody know what you find you are, your social media handles, any upcoming project, the classes you offer, whatever. The floor is yours.
I mean, we got a lot going on, so I mean, it's hard to bring that all into video, but we do have some film projects we got going on, some things just to bring light to certain topics in the world that we're dealing with, as well as we have, what's the mother's thing? I'm sorry.
We are partnering with the Voices of Black Mothers United, and this group, these are a group of amazing women from all over that has lost their kids to violence in our neighborhoods. And a lot of them wasn't even involved in the particular violence. These are stray bullets we're talking about. These are just bystanders who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and now these women don't have a kid because of the violence that took place there. So we're working with them, therapeutic art classes, interviews, and just finding a way we can bridge that gap between our mourning mothers and the children that's still here. And how can we stop the children that's still here from creating more mourning mothers, if that makes sense. So yes, we have that going on. We definitely have our art classes. At this point, it's called an art workshop because you can literally come in here. You can choose to do beats. You can choose to write. You can choose to play the piano. You can choose to paint.
Video, photography.
Thank you.
Eventually we want to have these memberships where you can be a part of Art Society, and whether you're a singer, dancer, painter, writer, composer, we want to give you access to our exclusive meetings where we'll have like a kumbaya setting where we'll share each other's ideas and projects and see how we could all work together and bring these visions to life. Because we can do it by ourselves, right? But it takes longer. But if we come together in unity, and it just makes things more efficient.
The network is the network.
Absolutely. So you can find us on social media. Our Instagram is Thou Art Society. We have a website, www.thouartsociety.com. Find us on Facebook. And just come check us out. We're at the South Lake Mall. See what we're about, see what we're doing here. We'd love to have everybody.
Second floor, right next to Macy's.
Directly in front of NTA.
You can find us here every day, all day. We are meant to create with creative people. So.
And we're out.